Hey guys, coldbrew here. Welcome back to another raid video with the Summon Rush coming in tomorrow, the final one for the Mad Hatter champion. If you need to pick up on the epics, this probably is your time to do your summons, okay? There is honestly no way out of this. You gotta summon. We need the fragments to pick up on the epics. The epic is only accessible through Void, so if you didn't get a copy of the Void, you can't really miss many of the events, and the summon ones are kind of easy when you have the resources. So Plarium is going to bring in with some specific events coming in for the weekend summoning events. So starting Friday the 17th, going 18th, 19th, we're going to have a 15x going for some champions. We're going to cover those champions right now for you guys. Going to talk on who might be the one you need to pick, because for the progressive you need to pick on the specific champion, and then basically the odds are increasing whenever you summon a champion and it's like a legendary. You don't get the one you need, it's gonna increase the chance to pick up on the one you chose. So we're gonna have 5 specific ones now for the legendary champions, and then I'll cover the epics a little bit. So starting up, we're gonna have Lady Kimmy popping off here with this one. Definitely not the choice you want to go for. Although Lady Kimmy is fantastic, she got a Doom Tower aura. From the choices that I've seen from the other champions, she does not fare well in terms of getting something that's going to be useful much later on. Lady Kimmy is useful if you just missing, a block buffs, increased speed, increased accuracy, booster with turn meter, and then also decreased turn meter and decreased speed, decreased accuracy that she applies on the A2. But please know that she needs all the books to become useful, right? So if you don't have legendary books, all of these skills will have just a chance to do what they're supposed to. So it's really, she falls off if you don't have the legendary book. So definitely not that useful. You can't use her right out the gate and be impactful 100% of the time. You'll have the times where it just won't be happening here. The chance to do this needs to be at 100% in order to apply the block buffs to be consistent for the Hydra, let's say. But she's still going to be useful if you do happen to get her. She's still useful, but it's just not my choice. So next one up is Theodor the Savant. Honestly, Theodor is fantastic for things such as the dragon, the ice golem, the spider, and in some specific cases the Fire Knight, but not for the hard version of the Fire Knight. Very useful because he's got a way to explode poisons and HP burns with the A3 skill, plus increase the duration of those debuffs, which means those debuffs, especially the HP burn, will have another turn basically to be used. So when you do activate one of those debuffs, what happens is basically like, boom, the enemy has taken a turn when they haven't. And having the ability to increase the duration of that basically boosts your damage as well. He also does apply a weaken debuff on enemies not under poison or HP burn debuffs, but honestly, this is a waste if you do this. He also has a way to boost speed with an increased speed buff. He can apply poison sensitivity and poison debuffs on all enemies. So he is useful like that, and can also apply decreased speed as an AoE attack. So can be useful in multiple places where these debuffs can actually be applied. Not all bosses can have decreased speed on them. Basically, what he's used for is this, guys. Nothing else. Honestly, a good choice. He's one of the contenders here, especially if you don't have an activator yet in your teams. Theodor can even solo the dragon, some versions of the dragon. So there's that for you guys. Then the next one up is honestly one of the required ones, champions for the end game, okay? And I'm talking about the one and only Prince Karmar. The amount of times we had Prince Karmar in boosted summons, like boosted chances, I've lost count. Is more than 10 times so far. He is frequently being offered. Players are just going crazy on this guy, especially when we had the huge speed meta way back. He used to be the choice to even get a +4. So Prince Karmar, fantastic. He's got a reset skill on his A3, which resets all your cooldowns plus fills turn meter. He's got a way to control enemies with the sleep. So basically, you would have Prince Karmar even go first in your arena team. He would sleep the enemies, and then your team will go and you will have a reset going again with the A3. So for arena, this is useful. For PvE, you'll have your Seer do your combo. Then on round 2, Prince Karmar does his reset ability. We have many reset champions in the game, but Prince Karmar on his own does fantastic. I've got 3 Prince Karmars, each built differently, just to give you guys an idea. So there's no chance if you've got one Prince Karmar that you're like, oh, I don't need a second one. You'll find a use for a second one. I'm just saying, if you don't have everything else, Prince Karmar is one of the biggest choices here. Then we've got Gamoran as one of the choices here, which I'm honestly not all that for. He did get buffed, I believe, recently. Can't remember when. I think they changed something on him. Might be mistaken. If that's not the case, then fine. But he is basically a champion that has a very unique kit where he can target dead or living enemies. Overall, I'm just going to say it out loud. It's not worth going for this champion, especially if you don't have any of the other ones. And when you're summoning, it's better off going for that second copy of Prince Karmar, second copy of Theodor, for example, rather than a Gamoran. And then we have Arman's huge game changer here. Again, people are going to go for the +4 here. So the big whales are going to go for the +4. They're going to use their sacreds on this guy. And honestly, sacreds give you the most points in summoning events for the amount of shards you use. But void shards give you the most amount of points for, let's say, a 10 pull gives you, what, 1,800, 1,800 points, I believe. It's 180, right? Per void, if I remember correctly. Or 120. One of the two. Got to check again. I never use my voids on summoning events unless there's a 2x. Somehow there's a 2x in there. But Arman's Magnificent completely controls an enemy team, can stun the team as well, gets their turn meter, and then uses that to do the sheep on a specific target. He is, you know, an amazing champion. Basically, all of the endgame players have him already because he was a fusion last year. So imagine how that's going to go when players want more copies of him. Because you can use more copies of him in even the siege, for example. So having 2 Armans, it's not a problem. Having 2 +4 Armans, that's kind of insane. And then, we're gonna have a look at the Void champions. Let's have a look at the Void champions in the end. We'll have a look at the epics from the sacreds, okay, that you'll be pulling. So one of them is Tagar. Tagar is good. If I remember his kit exactly, I think Tagar is a pretty cool champion. I'm trying to remember. Is he an orc? There he is. Okay. Tagar, increased defense on the A1 on the ally with the lowest current health. Increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Plus healing all allies, and then revives all dead allies with a shield. So fantastic to carry you through. If you're somebody like doing the free-to-play challenge right now, this champion will carry you in terms of having a reviver finally. And also for the orcs faction, just it's really solid to have a reviver. Just helps you do that much quicker. Then we have Rhyrenon. How do I say this name? Rhyrenon, the Silken. Decrease attack, very useful. Underrated skill. If you're a new player and you're watching this video, if you don't have decrease attack on the clan boss, you're basically halving, reducing the time that you do the clan boss by 2 basically. This allows you to survive so much longer, and having it on the default skill is huge. She's got a low chance, a one-hit attack, but it's still there and it still can be impactful. Very useful. Turn meter field plus increased speed on all allies can be amazing, especially if you're using this epic for multiple areas like the arena and also the clan boss. And then has a revive ability on the A3, which can be useful. But I guess this skill cannot be used if you don't have a dead ally, so having continuous heal is not going to be applied. Even so, still a good champion if you're looking for a reviver. And then finally, Creodan the Blue, which I think this should be your choice. If you're somebody struggling with Fire Knight hard mode, Creodan the Blue, having 2 copies of Creodan the Blue will make it so much easier to push maybe all the way to hard mode 6 of the Fire Knight. I'm going to be very generous with hard mode 6. Maybe you can do 3 or 2. Still, it gives you that small chance to get a mythical, okay? So any stage on the hard mode allows you to do that. And he can apply freeze basically with his 2 skills. He's got a turn meter field plus increased speed buff. And then he can also fills his champion's turn meter by 5% for each freeze debuff placed on this champion. So he works very well together with that other guy that applies a freeze. Trying to remember the other guy's name. Is he a dark elf? Trying to think if I can find him. They work very well together. Let's see. Can I find him? There's no chance I remember his. I think he's a high elf. My God, Neldor. There he is. They work very well together. So if you got the two, they work very well together. So whenever an ally places a freeze debuff, this champion has a 30% chance to attack the target with a default skill. And this guy's attack is a triple hit, which each hit has a chance to apply freeze. So they work very well together, Neldor and this guy. So have that in mind and use that to your advantage if you're somebody trying to push for Fire Knight. Then finally, we'll have a look at the Voids. The Voids, we're going to have the brand new Queen of Hearts. She's going to be offered here. If you're somebody pulling Voids, you'll be able to pick her up exactly how she is in the event dungeon. She's here available, except for all the crazy passives. This passive is still there, though. So for every 10 buffs the enemy team receives, grants its champion extra turn. And we're at a point where the enemies are getting insane amounts of buffs. So you'll interrupt their buffing sequence because of this extra turn mechanic. So you get this extra turn, and then you have the choice of your A3, which is an ally attack team up, which can also apply increased attack buff on everybody first before that happens, and then also decreases the cooldown of this champion's off with their head skill by 2 turns if the target is killed. She can basically use this as the default mode, which I guess most people will do this. Removes all buffs from all enemies unless they're protected, of course. Then places the Death Brand debuff, which the Death Brand debuff applies on the enemies, and if the target dies, they are block revived. Basically, that's the Death Brand debuff. And then can also place a True Fear, fills this champion's turn meter by 5% for each buff removed. So this is a very strong skill against enemies that don't have a protection set going on before they apply the buffs. If they do apply protected buffs, it's basically going to be useless unless the ally attack is key for this one. So I wonder if you can make like a go second team with her, utilizing the Queen of Command, and then go have like a go second team with her. I should try it out, actually, now that I think of it. It sounds very cool. Sounds very cool, but I wonder you're gonna use her with 3 ally attack, maybe. Ooh, but I guess stone skin teams, you won't be able to do much, but still cool champion. I gotta try that. But maybe that's gonna be the next video. And then the other one is gonna be Tuhanark. Tuhanark has amazing uses. You've probably seen showcases of Tuhanark before. It has a crazy passive, which is a double debuff cleanse if you do have continuous heal buff on your allies, or a single debuff cleanse. Similarly to Doom Priest, she can apply decreased speed on a single target, and then she can also apply decreased attack, block buffs, and then spread it around on the heads of the Hydra, for example, or on multiple targets. It's just very, very strong skill. It doesn't spread these 2 specific ones. It spreads 2 random debuffs, so that's kind of bad, but she also can provide buffs on your team. Her being Void is amazing for having no weak hits, and that's basically her kit, plus accuracy in all battles as an aura. Fantastic champion. Kind of high base on speed, and she looks pretty cool, if I'm gonna be honest. And finally, for the epics on the Voids, is gonna be Eurogrim and the Mytha. Honestly, this is more like a do you have an unkillable team for the clan boss? If not, put the Mytha on your 15x and do some summons. Hopefully you'll pick her up. It's an insane pull. If you do, you can make, if you pull 2 of them, you can make one of the easiest teams for the clan boss. It's not the best. It might not even be a 1 key, but you'll be able to get there quicker. And having at least the 1 and just waiting there, it's gonna be your way to go with the clan boss. And then Eurogrim is okay. He did get nerfed a while ago, where they adjusted his skills so that he couldn't solo stuff that easily, but he's still a very strong champion with having the ability to apply poison plus continuous heals, and then also single target cleanse plus heal, and then poisons on the A1. Still strong, but from the 2, I would pick Eurogrim. From the Voids, I would say I would go for the Queen of Hearts, just because she's so unique in what she does and can provide something maybe better than anything else. So guys, this was the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe if you have not already to this channel. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.